Welcome to Cinema and Suds.
This is Thanksgiving, a feast of blood. I'm Roger Cropley.
And I'm David Jester. And today we're going to move right into our beer. So we're going to start off with our Thanksgiving beer. It's really interesting. It's very hard to find them, but, if you dig a little deep, you can find them.
I'm kind of shocked it's Thanksgiving beers, but hey, let's see what they taste like.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a beer for every holiday, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we drinking?
So from Cornerpoint Brewing Company in Berwick, we're drinking Uncomfortable Hugs. It's a German style Maybach coming in at like 6.6%.
So those are normally between 6 and 8, so it's really kind of the sweet spot for beer.
Yeah, let's see how this tastes.
All right.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. That would actually be perfect for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I think it would go good with turkey and gravy.
Yeah, it's a little sweet, very malty, and that's like kind of like, the things you have around Thanksgiving, right? Like it's either super savory with the turkey or, you have like sweet pumpkin pie.
All right. So it's that time of year that we give thanks, and we are thankful for horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, like I love horror movies, especially horror movies that focus on a certain time of year or a holiday. I think that's just so awesome.
Well, we watched a few of them, and I don't know if we can really be thankful for any of them. They had the right theme, but were they good?
Listen, it was, again, right? It's one of those things for Thanksgiving. It's like a holiday that's always passed over. And I feel like the horror industry also passed over it for a while. But we're gonna dive deep. We found some movies. The thing is, like, they're not really Thanksgiving themed. It's just they happen around Thanksgiving. So the first one that we're gonna talk about is Home Sweet Home. Yeah.
Home Sweet Home, also known as Slasher in the House, was released in 1981. And if you've never heard of it, well, you're in the majority of the population. And maybe that's a good thing.
So it was interesting watching some of these films, getting used to what, some people wanted to put around the holidays for a film. The slasher flicks, they were just slasher flicks. They didn't really have any connection to Thanksgiving outside of it happened on Thanksgiving. So like with Home Sweet Home, a quick glance on like Rotten Tomatoes, the movie has a 17% on the popcorn meter and it has over 250 reviews. The tomato meter had no score at all. It had one review and it was a 2 out of 5. So it's kind of rough, but it's fair for what we watched.
Film Bizarro has this to say about Home Sweet Home. In the end, it's obvious Home Sweet Home became one of those forgotten slashers from the 80s because of how bad it is. For one thing, both the comedy element and the horror element completely failed. And in general, the movie is a complete mess. I totally agree with that.
So Home Sweet Home, for those people at home that haven't seen it, Home Sweet Home is essentially a slasher film where a psychotic person essentially just escapes from an asylum, but we don't see the escape. He just kills someone like right off the bat, and just comes across a family having Thanksgiving at their house, which is a very strange family to begin with, and just kills them for no apparent reason. Like there's no motive, there's no plot. It's just pure killing.
It's called Home Sweet Home, so you assume like the killer is going home, but the only tie to the Home Sweet Home title is the tattoo on the killer's hand, which says Home Sweet Home, which is just odd.
Yeah. It's like when they made the film, they were trying to develop a connection to the title of the film. So they were like, what if we put Home Sweet Home on the killer's arm? And that's why the film's named that. I have to say, so the like antagonist, the guy, the slasher, he's hopped up on PCP, which is like, again, another fear of the early 80s, right? Like, oh, like people like hopped up on crack and PCP are gonna like go crazy and kill you and break into your home.
The evil villain in this one is actually later on he played this bumbling menace of a like mobster kind of guy in Odd Jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's this like in Home Sweet Home, like he's this weightlifter, like muscled out, like tight t-shirt goon that just laughs constantly in this like maniacal laugh. And that's like all his character really does. And you're just like, I don't know, like the guy just escaped from the insane asylum and he was somehow getting like 200 grams of protein every day to like keep like a bodybuilding muscle like physique.
Right.
Like it doesn't really track to me.
I love how the first guy, I don't know, sees him in an abandoned field where he's sitting in his car and he's like, hey, you want a beer? And then he kills him and takes the station wagon.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just... so listen, you watch the film. I always recommend for people to watch a film on their own, make their own decisions. I don't like to judge things based on Rotten Tomato or based on like what other people tell me. I like to find out for myself. And I found out for myself what I think of Home Sweet Home. It's a movie. I don't think I'd watch it again. And in typical horror movie fashion, there is one part of the movie where there's boobs, right? Like, it's almost like every horror movie in the world has to have that.
Right.
And it has that for a brief, like 20 seconds. That's part of the horror movie world. Is the film, worth rewatching every Thanksgiving? Because I like to watch like themed movies for holidays. Don't think I could do it again. Don't think I could.
I did enjoy a couple of the kills.
Go for it. I want to hear this.
Well, the second kill where he discovers no, that's not the second kill. It's the third kill because the second kill is the one where he just runs over somebody and they slam into the window. Yeah. But the third kill is when he finds the guy who's like, he left the house and he was going to go get gas at the store, but he found this abandoned car. So instead of just going around it with his Jeep and going to the store, he decides he's going to siphon the gas. And then his Jeep won't start, so he's going to steal the battery. So he's got his head in the engine compartment, and the hood is up, and then this psycho just jumps onto the hood and slams it down on the person, and voila, you got a kill.
I think that was the best kill of the film. I think that was like by far the best one.
And I did like the kill that was of the weird kid who had like a mime kind of, makeup on and did magic tricks and played the guitar, and where he electrocutes him and the strings on the guitar melt and then it bursts into flames and the kid bursts into flames. Pretty good kill.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was actually pretty cool too, because when they did electrocute him, you could see the strings turn like this glowing orange and then melt and hang off and then fully fall off, which, I thought was a pretty awesome, like effect that they could do, which I was trying to wrap my mind around how they actually did that.
I know that was a good effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. That was solid. So, I think I'm going to land on the side of like Rotten Tomatoes with the 17%. I think, like having a movie that's like a boogeyman kind of slasher that really has zero purpose, right, is just not for me. Like Halloween is, and I go to Halloween where he is kind of a boogeyman, right? And, he does come from an insane asylum. So it's almost like trying to capture that in this movie.
Right. But at least in that one, they gave him a backstory of why he's in the...
Exactly. Yeah.
Why he's there.
Yeah. So I feel like you're going to have the mindless, character that makes you like that you just don't know and you need to be frightened of. You need to hide him a little bit. And that's what they do with like Michael Myers. Or in Final Exam, you never really see the person's face. Like you don't know who they are. And they're skulking in the shadows. So you kind of like see the kills like in the early Jason movies where you just see like the hands come out and like crush the person, right? You just see like part of the body. You see the torso like walking through the woods. So I think also in Home Sweet Home, by revealing the guy right off the bat looking like a Lou Ferrigno person just like cackling at the top of his lungs while smoking PCP, or actually, sorry, squirting PCP into his mouth,
Right.
while then running down an old granny on the street with his car and driving away with zero consequences just doesn't really track for me. So
and the blood smeared all over the window, and he just kept driving.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
yeah, so I'm gonna land in the 17 percentile of that Rotten Tomatoes score.
All right, so we should probably move on to the next one.
Yeah. So next up, we watched the 1987 horror slasher film Blood Rage, which is also known as Nightmare of Shadow Woods and just Slasher.
For an 80s slasher flick, this amazingly comes in at 73% on the tomato meter and 61% on the popcorn meter. What?
I knew you were going to be shocked by this.
What?
Oh, no, you got to go. We'll talk about that. It wasn't that bad. I thought it would. I thought it had. I don't want to like dive too deep into it yet, but I did. I think it was probably worthy of those two numbers.
I do not agree. This film was Thanksgiving, but it was only because it took place on Thanksgiving. It has nothing actually to do with any Thanksgiving themes.
Yeah.
Somebody said it was a solid slasher flick, which...
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think for like an 80s slasher flick, it has interesting themes in it.
Oh, it could have been a good movie. I mean, the whole twins and the blaming the first murder on the other twin, that twin going away to the insane asylum. It could have been a good movie.
Yeah. So let's kind of recap the film, right? Like just like Roger said, it starts at this drive-in. It's a single mother. She's on a date, and the guy is a little upset because she doesn't want to, do stuff in the car with the kids in the backseat while they're sleeping. And then lo and behold, when he says, "Hey, we're just going to leave. I'm done with this date," which like every guy is like seems like an asshole in this film, which
true.
They were assholes. Yeah, like they turn around, the kids are gone, and the kids have snuck away, and one of the twins finds a hand axe, goes to a car, kills a guy that's sleeping inside the car for no reason at all, which also can set the tone for like, okay, that's pretty frightening, right? That someone could, be at that level as a child. Right. But then he smears blood on his brother's face, puts the axe in his brother's hands, who's catatonic from seeing this, and then points the finger at him and says, "It's him." Everyone just believes it, like right off the bat. Like, oh, the kid that's standing there catatonic totally did this. And no one questions it. No one apparently was around to see it. So that's how the film starts.
Right.
And then the young brother is put into an asylum. His name is Todd. And Todd goes into the asylum. And
Terry is free.
And Terry is free. Terry has been free for years and hasn't killed anyone until Todd escapes from the asylum. And now Terry just decides to go on a killing spree, feeling vindicated that he can do it because Todd's out there and he can blame it on him, essentially.
I think it has to do with the fact that it seemed like Terry was obsessed with Mom.
Oh, yeah, that's the theme in the film.
And Mom had announced at Thanksgiving dinner that she was going to get married to this new guy. So that sets him off on his whole murder spree, which was kind of why it seemed like maybe why he decided to murder the first guy at the drive-in.
True. So there's this
weird
Oedipal complex in this film between Mom and Terry. At the end of the film, it really comes out where she tells Terry that the two of them should only be together and no one else, and now they can be together and they don't need anybody else. And this is like a 5-minute scene, and it just goes on and on where she's just, and it's actually Todd, and Todd tells her and that it's Todd and not Terry, and she knows that, but she's basically broken. She can't imagine that Terry would have done these terrible things, so that's why she's trying to do this. But listen, outside of that, we're jumping around. Needless to say, this movie has some incest themes, right? Some Oedipal complex, some really just, how would you say it? I mean, it takes place on Thanksgiving. It's not really Thanksgiving themed. It just takes place on Thanksgiving.
Right. I was shocked by the lighting. I mean, to me, it looked like it was lit, like this whole thing was shot on a soap opera set, and they had accidentally turned on every goddamn light in the place.
It was pretty.
There was no subtlety to the lighting at all. It was just crazy.
Okay, yeah, but I love how you're focusing on the lighting, yet you as an editor didn't first focus on the editing. There were some edits in this film that you would literally, like, the woman goes into the bedroom and finds a dead person, and then all of a sudden, like, you snap your fingers and she's out in the living room. Then you snap your fingers and she's outside, and you're like, whoa, wait, that was like 3 seconds. She just jumped these locations. Or the best one was where the mother is on the phone talking to the operator. Then it cuts to Terry, who's killing someone on the tennis court, or about to, cuts back to the mother, and then cuts back to Terry standing next to the swimming pool where there's blood in the water. No indication
of why
or who or what. All you know is that somehow in like 30 seconds, Terry killed someone, went from a tennis court, went to a pool, and then there was blood.
Yeah.
And then later when we go to the pool, there's no blood in the pool.
And they kept going back to the mom, talking on the phone with the operator. I was like, what in the hell? I know it was a long time ago, like in the 80s, and there were rotary phones and shit, but who the hell talked to the operator at that point?
Oh, not just that, but that was like that was again another like 5-minute long sequence.
Absolutely.
Of just like nothing.
You've got to connect me. Well, dial the goddamn number.
Yeah.
I mean,
listen, I think
I don't understand.
Maybe it's because we saw Home Sweet Home in the next film we're going to talk about. But I thought that this film was better, right, than Home Sweet Home in the way that it was filmed, the way that it was directed. I thought, like you said, the plot was clever.
Yep.
It's a film that, if you remade that today, I think that would be a really, I think you could really put some meat to the bones of that film.
Yes, you could make that film a lot better. If you decided to go and remake that film, it could be really good.
Mm-hmm.
This film, it was just shockingly bad to me. I mean, not just because of all those jump cuts and the acting was not good as far as I'm concerned. And
wait, can we talk about That's Not Cranberry Sauce?
Yes, let's lick that off the machete and say, it's not cranberry sauce.
I was watching the film at home, and I went into the kitchen and I yelled out, if I hear that's not cranberry sauce one more time, I'm gonna go crazy. And then I probably heard another 5 times from the kitchen. I'm just like, oh my God. And it's like someone got a tagline, that they loved, and they just kept writing it in.
Right.
And it's like, you can't, you gotta use that sparsely, right? Like you come up with a good witty punchline with, I'm not saying that is a witty punchline, but I'm just saying, if you come up with a good witty punchline, you don't want to overuse it, right? Like it devalues like how good that punchline is.
That's true. If they would have done it maybe once, if he would have just done it the first time, then that would have been a good line.
And also, if he had done it at like the kitchen table, right, and hacked at the guy's head, blood like ran into the cranberry sauce, and then he like licked the cranberry sauce, like put his finger in it, like, and was like, "That's not cranberry sauce." Like he'd be like, like that's really good.
That would have been good.
But out in the middle of the bayou, which it looks like they're in, I think this was filmed in South Carolina, actually.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think when I was reading that, it was filmed in South Carolina. There's a lot of swamp in this film. It's like at a condo complex in the South.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love too that the kitchen was very period. It was very like mustard yellow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like perfect. Like everything in that kitchen was mustard yellow or brown.
Yeah. It was a perfect early 80s, late 70s kitchen, indeed. And I mean, the kills weren't that bad.
No, the kills were good.
The kills in that movie were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, just some of the jumping around was kind of insane.
Yeah. So summarizing it, I think, listen, having made films and not got the coverage that I thought I needed, or I should, that I didn't get because I just didn't get it. I understand. It was interesting how they tried to use certain footage in certain areas which didn't line up, which was what was happening.
Right.
And they just did it anyway. And you're like, that they weren't on the boardwalk there 1 second ago. And then they're back in the woods, and then they're back on the boardwalk, and they're back in the woods. Right. It's like a running sequence. And you're like, yeah, that's not jiving up. But, I guess if you're watching it in the theater in like 1987, maybe you're not like, super critical of it. And you're like,
That prop gun though was really bad, dude.
Yeah, you could see the lines down like the center.
Yeah, it was a really bad prop gun.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean, the story of the twin who went to the insane asylum and escapes, and he comes back and he sees that his brother's killing somebody, and then he ends up saving the final girl, I guess, and the baby.
Yeah, don't forget the baby.
Don't forget the baby that she's running around with, that she just picked up out of a crib from another victim. That part was okay, and then the little fight in the pool, and then mom coming in and shooting who she thought was Todd, but it's actually Terry. Yeah, I think that movie had a lot of potential. It just kind of fell short.
Yeah, I think if you were going to redo this nowadays, take out the Oedipal scenes, like not make it. Okay, here's my thing.
You could make it that creepy if you really wanted. But
you could leave that in, right? Game of Thrones has taught us that people are okay with like incest relationships, apparently.
Yes, right.
But you can't have the mom reciprocating the Oedipal.
No, right.
Like the son, because he's twisted and he's deranged, and like we're like, okay, like he's another psycho that just like went crazy and like decided to. There's something wrong with him, right? Because he did this at like 7 just to do it,
right? Yep.
But like, and so we can understand the psychosis, the Oedipal complex, the insanity of it, but the mom reciprocating it is where I think the line should be drawn.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, like, they were like 3 inches away from kissing each other. I mean,
That's
literally.
True. That's true at the end.
Like, I really thought they were going to kiss. Like, I would have I would have lost so much money on that. If I was in Vegas, I would have put a lot of money on that.
I mean, that would have been okay since it wasn't Terry and Todd kind of like got flipped out and ran away after that. But yeah, that's a weird way to go.
Yeah. Yep, it was a movie. But I'm going to fall on like the 50% on the meters. I'm probably not going to fall into the 67 and the 73% range. But I would say that if someone said, "Hey, have you seen this? I want to watch this," I would say I'd watch it with you again. I don't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, I liked Rubber. I chose Rubber as a film. So,
right. Well, I guess if you like Rubber and you like Season of the Witch, Halloween 3, then okay.
I think Season of the Witch is a great film.
We'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
Because, my memory of that movie is, please never show it again. But I guess I can watch it.
Well, I'm going to go get another beer to ease your pain, and then we can talk more about other films.
Oh, this smells very IPA-ish.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. So, what do we have here? We have the Turkey Pale Ale. So, we're going local again with one of my favorite breweries in Maine, Barreled Souls out of Saco. Like I said before, it's hard to find Thanksgiving beers, and I jumped at this one when I found it on the shelf. Turkey Pale Ale. And,
turkey Pale Ale, huh?
Yeah, I hope it actually doesn't taste like a turkey.
All right, I'm willing to try it. Let's see. It's got 6.7% and has rosemary, sage, and thyme. Well, if that doesn't go with turkey, then nothing will, I guess.
Oh, I really I really can taste the herbs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you really can taste the herbs. I don't know how I feel about that. Here's the can.
I'm not,
Barreled souls.
I don't hate it. I mean, it smells like an IPA, which turns me off. Because you know how I love IPAs.
Oh, yeah. Your favorite.
But it actually, I don't know. That's not bad.
Yeah, I like
kind of like, I don't know, maybe if you just lick the top of the turkey.
yeah, it's the basting. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just looking at it too, like there's some particles floating in it. I'm assuming that's maybe some of the spices. It seems unfiltered. It's a kind of cloudy IPA.
Let's hope that's what it is.
Yeah, no, right? I mean, it could be sediment. It could be like yeast.
Right.
But you know, it's tasty. I think I would have one of these. I don't think I'd want to drink a 4-pack by myself.
Oh God, no. No. This is definitely something that you serve it to some people at Thanksgiving and they look at you and they are like, what in the hell did I just drink?
Yeah.
but I don't think people would turn their nose up at it if they like beer.
No, I think it's.
I think they'd actually, finish it.
Hey, listen, I mean, people drink Pumpkinhead all the time, and it's just a pumpkin pie in a glass, right? So why not have a turkey in a glass?
That's true. It's, definitely like the basting of turkeys. It tastes like that smells,
Yeah. Well, let's move on while we drink this beer, because since we're drinking a beer about turkeys, let's talk about the film that features a turkey, Thanksgiving. And let me tell you, if you love cheese factor in a film, this is right up your alley.
Released in 2008, Thanksgiving is a ridiculous movie, and it really is ridiculous. Coming at 43% on the popcorn meter and no rating on the tomato meter, this movie comes in higher than Home Sweet Home. I question that.
Just saying.
This is also, even though this movie was, I would have to say, terrible, it is the first of the Thanksgiving trilogy. Yes, there were 3 of these movies. And it was made for $3,500 with sequels that have larger budgets. So I don't know. They did something right that made people want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I think every holiday like needs cheesy movies with the icons like becoming caricatures and killing everyone, right? Like Jack Frost, or like, where's like a Rudolph movie where he like goes crazy and like kills people? But like the world needs more of this, right? We need more holiday fun horror.
Let's have Hermie the Killer Elf.
Ooh, yeah.
I want to be a dentist.
Rankin and Bass like horror film. Saying.
Thanksgiving ticks off all the boxes. It has cheese, a murderous turkey, and its tagline, "Gobble gobble, motherfucker."
The voice of the turkey was incredible. Yeah, between this and the cranberry sauce line and Blood Rage, I feel like Thanksgiving movies, it just for some reason has a lot of taglines.
This one had a few. The "You've been stuffed."
Oh yeah. Yeah, this was, I don't know if like any of you at home have watched Slaughterhouse, but this is right up there with it. It's just Slaughterhouse had a higher production value and a stronger story and a stronger script. And
so were the sloths in that movie puppets?
It was one sloth. It was a puppet, and it decided to go on a killer rampage. Yeah.
Well, this is a turkey on a killer rampage.
Yeah, this had some inappropriate moments in the film. It starts out with Wanda Lust.
Wanda Lust, the porn star, who is the only paid actress in this whole entire film.
Yeah, and the film actually starts with a close-up on her bare breasts.
Yes.
And when I say close-up, like a close-up.
Yep, right on one nipple.
And then it pulls out to show the rest of her. Apparently, the pilgrims didn't wear tops. Well, she had a top on. It just didn't have any section around the chest.
Right, exactly.
So apparently that's historically accurate. I'm going to believe that because that's what Thanksgiving taught me.
Because the Puritans were so sexually forward.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why New England is the way it is today, right? It's like runs on Duncan, runs on that. So, yeah, I mean, they definitely got
got the boobs in the horror movie right off the top.
I'm telling you, it's the formula, right? Like you have to have them in a horror. If there's no boobs in it, it's not a slasher film. So you have to have that. And they were just like, all right, where are we going to insert this? And someone was like, what if the pilgrim at the beginning of the film is topless? And someone was like, genius, like do that and make sure it's a porn star. So, they ticked off the box on those. That was great. The rest of the film was
terrible.
It was.
I would say it's entertaining. At least you could watch it and you can laugh at how dumb these human beings are and how ridiculous the turkey is. He's a talking turkey.
Yeah.
At one point he's at the side of a road and the guy opens the door, invites him in and says, ass, grass, or gas. And the turkey says, I don't have any gas.
Yeah. Yeah. So the guy proceeds then, as the turkey climbs in, to unzip his pants.
Yep.
With the turkey's ass facing him. And like, okay, here's the thing, right? If we're watching this film and we're thinking, all right, like, there's a mutant turkey on it, and it's a comedy horror, right? Like we know, we understand this is supposed to be a serious horror film. But like no one's questioning that the turkey's talking to them. So, if they had said, hey, the turkey is magical, and it's like a demonic spirit that can like manipulate humans' minds, then I'd be like, oh, okay. I can
right.
I can go with this.
But just to accept the talking turkey is pretty outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't usually like pull over my like Buick LeSabre on the side of the road and be like, hey, turkey, get on in.
Well, and you certainly don't want to be like, hey, turkey, what you up to?
Yeah, so that really like sums up how the whole film is.
Then the turkey pulls out a shotgun. I don't know where the shotgun came from, because did the turkey have a shotgun? Was it in the car? I don't know.
Well, the shotgun was hidden somewhere on the car to the end.
And then he
was about to find it either way.
And he shoots the guy, and then he drives away in the car.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how he does it with his claws.
Yeah. I don't want to pick apart with all the plot holes in Thanksgiving, considering it was made for $3,500. It's also had, 2 subsequent films.
Yeah. So you got to give him credit, right?
Yeah. I mean, like legit, right? And that's the thing. They took a creative idea, they made a film, and, people bought the DVDs, and then they made a film after film after that. This actually makes me want to watch Thanksgiving 2 and Thanksgiving 3.
Really, just to see how they improved with an improved budget.
Yeah. And, it's like, for me, I land on films like this where it's like going into watching Sharknado, right? Like going into it is going to be cheese.
Right.
So you don't expect anything to be serious or real. You don't expect to be like, how did that bus make that jump and like break the laws of physics when there was no incline, right? So, just saying, for me, I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm going to laugh at it. I'm probably going to poke fun at it, but it's also going to be entertaining.
I guess, we could say that it was definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed quite a few times because it was so outrageous.
Yeah.
And I guess you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
And for the fact that everybody in it, except for the porn star at the front, was a friend or a family member who did it for free.
Yeah.
Now, most of them were not that good of actors, or they had them try to be something that they couldn't really pull off. Like, okay, the whole sheriff thing with the fake mustache. Either be a sheriff without a mustache or grow your own mustache. I don't understand that choice.
Yeah. Well, you have to wonder too, like when you have to be honest, this is something that I would love to pick the brain of the person that made this film, right?
Yeah.
Like how they went into it, because you think to yourself, did they, like when they filmed it, were they really thinking that like, oh, like this is going to be the movie that like sells, and like makes me a shit ton of money, right?
Right.
But it took off because people started posting videos of it on YouTube, and then people started buying the DVD.
Right.
So, it's like what's like, where's the intention, right? I mean, like I said, like the cheese factor alone is perfect in that you know what you're getting into. I mean, there's literally a turkey like wielding a knife, but you never see hands, right? Like it's,
That's true.
so you're just like it falls into a radioactive garbage can, right? After.
And everybody just talking to that turkey.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like the sheriff who invites the turkey in because he's wearing a fake nose, like one of those glasses with a nose.
The Groucho Marx
Right.
glasses and nose.
And he sets him down at the table and drinks coffee with him and has a conversation and thinks he's like a midget, I guess, or little person. Sorry,
Yep.
I think that's the appropriate term now. And then he's like, what is he, like some kind of duck? What?
Oh yeah. He says something about like a duck, and the turkey just goes crazy.
He kills him.
Yeah, and then peels his face off and uses it as a mask,
a la like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, and then when the daughter shows up, she doesn't realize that it's not her father,
Right.
and that she doesn't realize that it's a turkey wearing her father's face as a mask.
Right.
So again, it's like it's comedy, it's horror. Is it? Let's say this: Home Sweet Home, I think, is worthy of the 17%. Thanksgiving, I think, is worthy of the 43%. I think Thanksgiving I would watch over Home Sweet Home again. And I think they, for what the film is trying to achieve that.
Right.
Where I think Home Sweet Home was almost trying to be, a serious slasher film, but just, at times missed those marks, the formulaic marks at the time of that. And I think that's why it kind of fell flat. So,
and by the way, if you want to watch Blood Rage and Home Sweet Home, you can find them on YouTube.
yes.
And if you want to watch Thanksgiving, at least currently, it is on Tubi for free. And of those three, I guess I would recommend Thanksgiving, even though it's outrageous, it's weird, and I don't know, but at least it makes you laugh.
I would recommend Blood Rage and Thanksgiving. I would say just go into it with two different mindsets. Blood Rage is going to be an 80s slasher flick that you've never heard of, and there's a reason for that. And then there's, Thanksgiving, which also is going to be a film that you've never heard of.
The weirdest thing about Thanksgiving is that one of the characters has their mother and their father killed, and another character has their father killed, and there is like no emotional breakdown whatsoever about these events.
What, you're supposed to show emotion when you find your father who's had his face ripped off by a turkey and he's dead? You're supposed to show emotion to that?
No, you're supposed to come back from actually finding one of your friends dead and decide to watch a movie with popcorn in the same house.
Oh, and make out
corpse.
and almost fuck in front of your other friend.
Right.
He's literally right next to you guys.
Yes.
I mean, isn't that what everyone does, right? I was actually more surprised that the guy got up.
That he got up and stayed and watched.
Yeah. That's what I thought would have happened. I mean, I don't know if maybe that makes me a pervert, but I would have been like, well, I mean, if you guys are going to go for this in front of me, like, yeah, that's your choice.
Right.
I mean, like,
I'm going to keep watching this horror film thing. But yeah.
Yeah. So, definitely I say, if you want to make it a true Thanksgiving tradition for film, you sit down and you watch Thanksgiving 1, 2, and 3 back to back to back. Just do it.
That means we have that. That means we have to watch 2 and 3.
We do. We are going to have to watch 2 and 3. I don't think anyone here that's listening to this is ever going to know because we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to leave it alone. But with that said, from what we read, Thanksgiving 3 had how much of a budget?
Like over 100,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, that's pretty killer. The film generated fans. If they were doing another like Indiegogo for Thanksgiving 4, I would probably donate.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Absolutely. All right, so what's beer number 3? I already finished this one. Which means I like turkey, I guess.
He does.
Well, this beer looks extremely dark, sir.
Yeah. I absolutely love dark beers, much like my soul and my heart love darkness. I drink my coffee black. I like my beer black. I just absolutely love it. And nighttime, favorite time. Give me some like neon lights, the darkness. The daytime can go fuck itself. So yeah, no, we got a good beer. So tell me more about it.
Okay, so this is another Maine beer. It's from Bunker Brewing, and it's called Black Rabbit, a robust porter coming in at 6.5% alcohol. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's try it.
I'm excited for this one. Damn, that's good. That's really good.
That is quite good, actually.
Yeah, I love porters, dark beers. Like whenever a brewery says that they have a robust porter, you know, like I get really excited about it. Like I want my beers to pour into my glass like molasses. It's very rare that I think a brewery nowadays can make a really good, deep, dark porter. You know, most of them are stouts,
Right.
and this is good. Yeah, my hats off to Bunker Brewing. That's damn.
Yeah,
good.
that's a good beer. Yeah. I don't think I'd want to drink too many of them because it would be kind of heavy, but
Oh, I could go all day with these. Give me some imperial stouts all day long. Well, we'll see what mistakes I'll make.
yeah, right. Maybe you'll make Thanksgiving,
Ooh,
which actually was a good mistake, apparently.
I know. Hey, listen, you're the one that said you would rewatch that.
I would,
right? And
yep.
that's the thing is, man, like, you know, okay, just to, like, before we move on to the next one, I just have to say it. Give me a good, like, I don't want to say creature flick, but like Sharknado, right, is about, you know, some kind of creature, some animal that's mutated, right? Thanksgiving, again, like a turkey that has superpowers or is out there killing. And I just feel like there's not enough fun ones out there. Like they made Cocaine Bear, and, you know, Cocaine Bear was like, you know, like I didn't really think it was that exciting.
Right. Made a lot of money, though.
Oh, absolutely. But for me, it's like I loved the films like Piranha back in the day.
Like the Piranha from the 70s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like the Killer Bees, right? And they like drove the car into the stadium at the end of the film.
Oh,
They
right.
swarmed on the car and they like turned on the AC in the stadium and like it dropped the bees off the car. You know, and they had to do problem solving. They had to like use science to figure out how to destroy it. It wasn't just like, oh, we just need to outwit it.
Right.
You know, so
It's kind of funny how, like, there have been eras of movies. Like, you had those movies in the 70s with the bees and the Piranha and all that kind of stuff. And the Grizzly, that was the same kind of era. And you had like the Poseidon Adventure and all those like disaster movies that happened, you know, in the I think that was more like the mid 70s or maybe early 70s. Yeah, it's kind of funny that happened.
Towering Inferno.
Towering Inferno.
Yeah. No, I love me a good disaster movie. Like, oh man, it's
those haven't been around for a while.
No, I mean, like they fell off in like the early 2000s and like 90s, early 2000s with like Dante's Peak or Deep Impact, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're like, true. And they became like doppelganger movies. But anyway, we're totally getting off track.
right.
Let's get back to this film.
The fourth film is Thanksgiving, which is a definite based in Thanksgiving. I mean, they're celebrating Thanksgiving in the town. They have a Thanksgiving parade. And it has a solid tomato score of 83% and a popcorn score of 78%.
You know, I really like this film. This is probably the third time I've seen it. It's like this movie is definitely like a typical Eli Roth film. You know, I feel like though he's come such a long way from Hostel, which was more just like gore porn, right? It was just torture porn.
I can't even really watch those films. I saw the first one and I couldn't go any further than that.
But like, man, you know, I feel like the thing with, you know, it's just like any director has their own feel and look.
Right.
And as soon as you start watching that, you're like, oh man, like that's an Eli Roth film. But I love how the film really like captured the true essence of American Thanksgiving, which is capitalism.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it definitely had like all these little homages to other serious Halloween, like films, like Halloween. Like it starts out with this point of view of walking up to the house and then it cuts to, Patrick Dempsey coming in for
Thanksgiving.
for Thanksgiving.
See, this is what happens when you drink beers.
Right, exactly. But yeah.
So one of the things that you pointed out to me, and you just brought it up again, and it's like so obvious in the first 30 seconds of the film, they tell you who did it.
Yeah, they do. 100%.
Right? Because they put you in the perspective of the killer walking up to the house.
Right.
Which is very reminiscent of other horror films. And then cut to is Patrick Dempsey on the other side of the door.
Right.
Which is like, oh, like they literally told you just by that POV, which is so clever. Like that's a really great way that Eli Roth like brought to that film, and like right off the bat. And for, it's like, are you paying attention?
Right. For
like,
most people, I bet they just totally just forget about that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, in his interaction with the woman
Mm-hmm.
makes you go, oh, they're having an affair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So for me, watching that film, I felt like it was a really good mix of I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream when it came to plot. The guy is, letting the characters know that he's gunning for them, right?
Yeah.
He's tagging them in their social media.
Right.
So they know that they're being targeted, but they don't know when or where.
And he's setting places for them at the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah. So I love, and also it's revenge, right? Which is again, like I Know What You Did Last Summer or Scream. There's this, there's this revenge that's there, that this person has been wronged in some way. So the killer, Patrick Dempsey, is coming for them, and he's letting them know and kind of playing with them and baiting them and torturing them, because he could have just shot them dead, right? Or killed them.
Right.
But he makes it about Thanksgiving, which really, I think is clever. I like it. I think, to be honest, the Rotten Tomatoes score is a little, I think it could be higher. To be honest, it was well filmed.
Right.
It was well done. It was well written. I didn't think there were a lot of like cliche lines.
No, there weren't a lot of cliche lines. No, definitely.
I think the Boston, Massachusetts, Salem accent was a little too much.
Yeah.
I just like.
Yeah, I hate it when they try to do that. It's just like, just let it be.
Yeah, that was a little thick. I mean, like living in Maine, like just north of, Massachusetts, you hear accents, and, like I'm from New York originally, and I don't really have a thick accent. It's just certain words.
Right.
But man, like some of the things that I was just like, oh, like guys, like lay it off. Like not everyone drops an R at the end of like the word that they're saying in Massachusetts. Like It's just not a thing. So outside of that, which, is more acting than anything, I thought it was a pretty solid film.
It was a good film. And I liked, to me, like the whole, like, what was his name? Like Carver? John Carver.
John Carver.
And the mask and that thing. And the fact that he was really upset about this Black Friday sale that ended up in a riot, basically, and ended up with people getting killed because they wanted some kind of toaster or whatever the heck it was in there. And that's springboards the whole story and makes it a revenge story. That was good. I mean, that's like to me, that goes back to like Dawn of the Dead, which was like, a thing on capitalism, a comment on capitalism and how bad it actually really is. But, and I liked Patrick Dempsey playing against character. That was pretty cool. The only part of this movie that made me question it was in the parade, which of course is a kind of an homage to I Know What You Did Last Summer with Sarah Michelle Gellar as the queen, was that in that scene, Patrick Dempsey, instead of being John Carver, is like this clown.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's like a very small thing, but it was jarring that it ripped me out of that moment. That's supposed to be a really tense moment. And made me like really wonder what I'm watching, like what I'm seeing, like why is this happening? And then he reveals it, and you're like, oh, okay. But to me, it was like, oh, like like who is this? Like, why is this person doing this?
Right. I mean, it. That was the only part that really like made me go,
Yeah,
But after a while, when it got to the part where he had kidnapped all the people and he put them at the table, and then he was prepping that woman
mm-hmm.
as like she was the turkey with
Yeah.
the butter and the rosemary and all this, all the that was, and then he of course puts her in the oven and kills her. But that was quite a crazy scene.
Yeah, I liked that. Again, like playing up on Thanksgiving themes. I like the idea of playing up on holiday themes. But in like pure Eli Roth fashion for a film, I felt like he takes it to the place where you're okay. Yeah, like that's great. That person died. Good horror kill. And then he goes beyond. And for me, like that's one of the things where, for Patrick Dempsey's character, the Sheriff Eric Newland, I feel like it was completely out of character.
Yeah, especially when he decides to slice off a piece of the woman's thigh as he's serving her as a turkey, and being like, "Hey, have a piece of your whatever, sweetheart," or whatever he says.
Yeah, I mean, like if he had, looking at it from the perspective of, okay, this is a guy who's seeking revenge. He's playing and torturing the people that were involved in this, or he feels were involved in this.
Right.
But then he wasn't like a previous killer. He wasn't like some psycho that had been doing this before. He was a, hometown sheriff.
Police officer, right?
Yeah, in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Oh, and I guess we never said why he has this revenge.
Yeah, that's right. We did not.
Right. So he is having an affair with this woman who is married to a manager at a large department store that ends up being open on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And these kids who are basically friends of the person who owns the department store get in and kind of like they're in the store and they're teasing the people who are standing in line to get in, which causes basically a riot, and they crash into the store and they get in. And the woman that this sheriff loves, who he's having an affair with, ends up getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wants revenge.
Yeah, and he gets it. I mean, he definitely gets it throughout the film.
Right.
It's just so out of character for this man who's dedicated his life to protecting the public. And before that, when you see him in the early scenes of the film, he seems like a very upright person.
Right.
And you just wonder, like, would he sink to the levels of cooking someone alive and then slicing their thigh off after they've been cooked in an oven, which
serving them like a turkey.
Yeah, serving them like a turkey in like
Right.
an industrial oven that's a human size, apparently. And then serving it to her husband because he's the owner of the store who opened it on Thanksgiving, which makes him the villain, because it is also kind of a piece on capitalism and how like shitty Americans are, because all they care about is buying things, right? Skipping Thanksgiving completely for Christmas.
Right.
But, you just think to yourself, would this character have sunk this deep?
Right. Yeah.
And I just, and granted, listen, like if you have a film and this is the biggest criticism of it, like that's pretty good, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a character development flaw that I would just say, I don't know, made me think, it's a little over the top.
Right.
But everything from that, it really did have the good chases, the scares, the character coming after people and you wondering if he's going to really get them. I thought
it was a very decent horror film.
Yeah, it really was.
Yep. And I like the fact that at one point him as the sheriff is like, it's all about the details. And then later that comes back because she sees the mud on his shoes and she knows that, oh, he was just chasing me. So he is the murderer.
Yeah. And I guess with that, her character is Jessica Wright in the film. she, again, I think she was somewhat of an underdeveloped character
Mm,
that they played so much on the ancillary characters, like the guy who's the pitcher or,
right.
the other boyfriend. Yeah. I feel like she is the one that's going to solve it. She's the last person standing essentially in this, because she's going to defeat him.
Right.
And like she just kind of is there. So I would have liked to have seen more of her, a little bit more developed, her personality and her strong beliefs on like what was going on. Because it seems like she had strong feelings on the whole Thanksgiving, like the shop being, or the store being open, Right Mart being open
Right.
on Thanksgiving. But they didn't dive into this like anti-capitalist, like, kind of like, feeling in her. So it was good it was great in the way that it was well filmed. The story was good. The plot was good. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more development on the characters since it is a revenge story. And I feel like revenge story does require you to actually care about who is being attacked and also who is attacking.
Yep. I think something that would have made it just a little bit better is if the guy who was her husband at the first and Patrick Dempsey had the same shape, if they were like the same size, so that you could have had some kind of,
Yeah.
drawn into maybe thinking it was the husband. But because the husband was like a bigger, bulkier guy,
you knew it wasn't
you
him.
knew it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Even though they tried to point it towards him a little bit.
Yeah.
But you just knew.
Well, and with that said, there was never any so there could have been another layer of tension, which is the Patrick Dempsey character, the sheriff, and the husband, and the fact that Patrick Dempsey was having an affair with his wife.
Right.
Right. And like that could have come to light. It could have developed. It could have created tension. But it was kind of like it was just a vehicle to give Patrick Dempsey a love interest to then have revenge.
Right. Yeah.
Which was really weird because it just could have been his girlfriend then.
Yeah.
And so like in other words, like you didn't have to make it, like this guy's wife is cheating on him with Patrick Dempsey. You just could have been like, Patrick Dempsey was in love with like the local waitress who was going into the store like late at night.
Right.
Like it was a very, like it's a very strong like theme and point in this story that just never has any resolution and gets dropped.
Right. Absolutely. I did like the fact that they kind of like left it open for a sequel. Not that there probably will ever be a sequel, but I mean, because his body disappears in the explosion of the what? It was a turkey, right? It was like a blow up turkey, a helium blow up turkey. Yeah.
So, I mean,
fire.
Listen, thumbs up on it. This, like I said, is probably like the third time I've watched Thanksgiving. I would watch it again. I'd watch it around Thanksgiving. What I really want from a horror film that's themed for the holiday is to really have the elements of that holiday. Like I really want it to be about that holiday. And I feel like there just isn't a Thanksgiving film. Like Home Sweet Home, I totally wanted it to be a horror film where like, the family gets together and let's just say like the disgruntled like uncle like breaks out of the asylum and goes and like wreaks havoc on the family that's having Thanksgiving dinner, and like plays upon those themes of like family and togetherness and,
right.
The shitty times that like you want to just get away because you're drinking so much because you just like want to like forget like what's going on.
Right.
And, I that was kind of like Blood Rage, kind of Home Sweet Home.
Mm-hmm.
But then Thanksgiving really brought in the colonial aspect,
right.
because that's what we think about, right? Like we think about like the Pilgrims and the colonists. So that's something that, I feel like Thanksgiving was so close on. It was almost right there. It was almost there.
It was I mean, I would definitely watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess at some point we have to watch some Christmas horror movies.
Oh yeah, yeah, and also like all the Thanksgivings, like
Yeah,
a whole Thanksgiving marathon. We'll have to rewatch Thanksgiving 1 and just like do a full marathon of like Thanksgiving 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then like hopefully there'll be like a Thanksgiving 4, like the Reckoning.
The Reckoning.
It's gotta like you gotta bring that turkey back every time. If it's like Jason, man, you can get like 10 films out of that.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
The turkey just keeps coming back. It's like a supernatural being that doesn't die.
Well, thank you for listening to Cinema and Suds. We hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we will definitely try to do some Christmas horror movies.
Oh yeah, there's plenty out there. We'll find some of the good ones and some of the less desirable ones.
Right.
We'll watch them for you and let you know how we feel about them.
Exactly. So I'm Roger Cropley.
And I'm David Jester.
And you are listening to Cinema and Suds.
Take care, everyone.